Good afternoon, everyone. U.S. government's 20 different seed banks preserving genetic diversity. Did anybody experience the record cold and freeze in the southeast U.S. on Halloween? Australia back to 1899 doesn't look like it's warming. Global weather losses as a percent of GDP declining. New billboard, it's not you, it's not CO2, it's the sun. And water spouts and golden glows of sunset.
And with talk of trade wars and the Fed lowering rates, talks of stock markets crashing across the global economy, contractions everywhere you look, isn't it time to consider gold or silver? Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs top-rated gold and silver IRA dealer. At Patriot, you work directly with an owner and avoid paying absurd broker fees. Call today to request a free investment kit below. Mention ADAPT 2030 and get a free 1-ounce silver coin just for answering a 3-minute survey. Call 1-800-778-4156 for more information or click the link in the description box below. Patriot Gold Group, free gold and silver IRA investment guides.
Starting off here, Ag Pro listing the U.S. government's 20 seed banks. And are any of these in your local area where you could reach out to the seed bank and ask them for seeds that you decide that you want to plant? Now, most of the seed banks that you've heard of, by far the most famous is Svalbard, but the second largest in the world is in Taiwan. But the seed vault in Svalbard protects up to 2.2 billion seeds. It's in permafrost, cold year-round, and it keeps the genetic diversity of our planet's seed supply safe. A glimpse inside will kind of give you an indication if you're going to store seeds yourself in your home, you might want to put them in the freezer versus leaving them out somewhere in the heat. Keeping them cold preserves them for an enormous time longer than leaving them at room temperature or in some area that gets direct sunlight. Now, what's most interesting is now there's a lot of focus on genetic diversity and also dive into it. The U.S. system holding 600,000 different varieties. They're really focusing on the soybean, and then they get into it here that genes responsible for stress resistance, stress tolerance, yield, composition, and nutrition are these traits that bring value. So what is it all on the seeds to bring us back yield again? I mean, this is coming more into the public consciousness, which is interesting at this time as we've had the greatest yield losses across our planet in almost 100 years. Another glimpse into the way that they store seeds in these seed vaults. And again, do you have access to it, or do you have access to a nursery or some type of government ag program that might supply you with either seeds or trees or plants for free? If you're going to grow them in your area, you might want to look into that. And what's interesting here, when you're taking a look at the National Laboratory for Genetic Resources Preservation in Fort Collins, Colorado, isn't that near Denver? Isn't that where the new seat of the U.S. government is? They're able to store seeds there for 75 years, 18 degrees Celsius below zero. And Svalbard, global seed vault pushing in at 825,000 crop varieties. So again, you're getting matchups. Interesting in the Colorado placement of the seeds. But do you or I have access to it? And see, this is where you need to start splitting the hair. Government's preparing for loss of genetic diversity. Should we also not be? And a glimpse once more, this is a wide out here on the locations. I encourage you, if you're locally in these areas and one of these seed banks is near you, whether it's Columbus, Ohio, Pullman, Washington, Hilo, Hawaii, of all places, wherever you might be, reach out to them and then see what they can direct you in terms of seed sources as we move forward. And speaking of that, the media's back in, chiming, saying, whoa, we lost so much this year. Now they're starting to blame the crop yields on extreme weather, which I agree with. It's because of my personal opinion, the Grand Solar Minimum intensification. But when we look at the trends over time, the global weather losses as a percent of the GDP down. So when they're trying to say all this extreme weather, it's getting more extreme, there's more losses, you can bring them right over here to this chart. Please copy it, please share it. And Friends of Science, taking out this new billboard, perfect timing, early snowfalls, record snow across Canada. The sun is the main driver of the climate. It's not you. It's not CO2. It is definitely the sun. And you know what? They had people that wanted this removed. There was an entire debate about having this removed because it was so offensive that we couldn't even talk about other causations for driving our climate other than CO2. I encourage you to take a look at what's going on. They're even trying to bring litigation to have this thing removed. So much for free speech in Canada. And with the epic cold front blasting through our crop zones over these days, how did the media frame the record cold temperatures on Halloween in your particular area? Because what you see with that purple is so far out of bounds, it's about 25 degrees Fahrenheit below the normal temperatures. And as this is still continuing to sweep east, how's the media referencing this and framing it? They are so lucky they're in November, where they don't have to talk about early October blizzards anymore. But when you're getting below freezing temperatures sweeping south of Louisiana coastline out into the Gulf of Mexico, with freeze warnings in Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi into the first week in November, again, you have to see how's the media framing this, because these types of temperatures shouldn't be seen until what? February? Late January? Months and months early and well below normal, but somehow they're going to spin it, and I encourage you to look back in your own media feed to see how they did spin it. And also with Australia and New Zealand still well below normal temperatures and unusual snows happening. 25 locations in Australia, daily temperature going back to 1890. And they have over 1.3 million temperature data points in this set. Now, do you think it is runaway, skyrocketing, global warming in Australia since 1876? And I want to leave you with a little beauty here. Water spouts in the golden sunset off the coast of Italy. Those three coupled together like that, unusual vortices in our atmosphere. And I've been putting this Amazon long-term food storage platform together. I'm going to be adding to it over the next few days. So if you want to see some of the items I'm looking at on how to prepare food and keep it for a longer term, I'm going to be adding something about canning here as well. Got the dehydrators. Take a look. Christmas time's coming up. It'd be a great gift for friends and family. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video, and I will see you next time.